Hello readers, welcome back to Nutan's library. Friends, we all face challenges in life. The changes that seem small and unimportant at first will compound into remarkable results if you are willing to stick with them for years. We all deal with setbacks, but in the long run, the quality of our lives often depends on the quality of our habits. With the same habits, you'll end up with the same results. But with better habits, anything is possible. Friends, in this video, I am presenting to you the summary of the book titled Atomic Habits, written by James Clear. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, then subscribe to the channel and like the video. You see, there is science behind habit formation, behavior change, and continuous improvement. This book is a step-by-step plan for building better habits. Not for days or weeks, but for a lifetime. You'll find wisdom and practical advice as it explains the science of how to create and change your habits in a way that is easy to understand and apply. This book will be relevant to anyone looking for a step-by-step system for improvement, whether your goals center on health, money, productivity, relationships, or all of the above. As long as human behavior is involved, this book will be your guide. It gives you a 4-step model of habits: cue, craving, response, and reward, and the 4 laws of behavior change that evolve out of these steps. The details and the applications of the 4 laws of behavior change will offer a new way to think about your habits. Okay, let's understand the fundamentals about habits first. Let's understand why small changes make a big difference. Number 1. An atomic habit is a little habit that is part of a larger system. Just as atoms are the building blocks of molecules, atomic habits are the building blocks of remarkable results. All big things come from small beginnings. The seed of every habit is a single tiny decision. You see, the tiny habits are surprisingly so powerful. We often dismiss small changes because they don't seem to matter very much in the moment. If you save a little money now, you are still not a millionaire. If you go to the gym 3 days in a row, you are still out of shape. We make a few changes, but the results never seem to come quickly, and so we slide back into our previous routines. We usually overestimate the importance of one defining moment and underestimate the value of making small improvements on a daily basis. Too often we convince ourselves that massive success requires massive action. Whether it is losing weight, building a business, writing a book, winning a championship, or achieving any other goal, we put pressure on ourselves to make some earth-shattering improvement that everyone will talk about. But it's not like that. We need to make small changes every day. Number 2. Habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. The same way that money multiplies through compound interest, the effects of your habits multiply as you repeat them. They seem to make little difference on any given day, and yet the impact they deliver over the months and years can be enormous. Only when you look back 2, 5, or perhaps 10 years down the line, then the value of good habits and the cost of bad ones becomes strikingly apparent. Getting 1% better every day means you'll end up with results that are nearly 37 times better after 1 year. Remember, success is the product of daily habits, not once-in-a-lifetime transformations. It doesn't matter how successful or unsuccessful you are right now. What matters is whether your habits are putting you on the path towards success. You should be far more concerned with your current trajectory than with your current results. Number 3. Habits are a double-edged sword. They can work for you or against you, which is why understanding the details is essential. You need to know how habits work and how to design them to your liking. so you can avoid the dangerous half of the blade. Number 4. Small changes often appear to make no difference until you cross a critical threshold. We often expect progress to be linear. We hope it'll come quickly. But in reality, the results of our efforts are often delayed. It's not until months or years later that we realize the true value of the previous work we have done. This can result in a disappointment where people feel discouraged after putting in weeks or months of hard work without experiencing any results. However, this work was not wasted. It was simply being stored. Much later, we see that the full value of previous efforts is revealed. People make a few small changes, fail to see a tangible result, and decide to stop. But in order to make a meaningful difference, habits need to persist long enough to break through the plateau of hidden potential. Change can take years before it happens all at once. You need to understand that the most powerful outcomes of any compounding process are delayed. You need to be patient. Mastery requires patience. Number 5. If you want better results, then forget about setting goals. Focus on your systems instead. Goals are about the results you want to achieve. Systems are about the processes that lead to those results. If you are a coach, your goal might be to win a championship. Your system is the way you recruit players, manage your assistant coaches, and conduct practice. If you are an entrepreneur, your goal might be to build a $1 million business. Your system is how you test product ideas, hire employees, and run marketing campaigns. So you do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Fix the inputs and the outputs will fix themselves. You see, winners and losers have the same goals. So the goal cannot be what differentiates the winners from the losers. It was only when they implemented a system of continuous small improvements that they achieved a different outcome. Also friends, achieving a goal only changes your life for the moment. The problem with a goals first mentality is that you are continually putting happiness off until the next milestone. Goals restrict your happiness. A systems first mentality provides the solution. When all of your hard work is focused on a particular goal, what is left to push you forward after you achieve it? This is why many people find themselves reverting to their old habits after accomplishing a goal. True long-term thinking is goal-less thinking. So focus on the overall system rather than a single goal. Then comes the question, if you completely ignored your goals and focused only on your system, would you still succeed? The answer is yes. You'll definitely succeed when you focus on your process each day, every hour, every minute, every second. Number 6. Your habits shape your identity and your identity shapes your habits. It's a two-way street. Friends, changing our habits is challenging for two reasons. 1. We try to change the wrong thing. And 2. We try to change our habits in the wrong way. Consider that there are 3 levels of change: outcome change, process change, and identity change. The first level is concerned with changing your results, like losing weight, publishing a book, winning a championship. Most of the goals you set are associated with this level of change. The second level is concerned with changing your habits and systems, like implementing a new routine at the gym, decluttering your desk for better workflow, developing a meditation practice. Most of the habits you build are associated with this level. And the third level is concerned with changing your beliefs, your worldview, your self-image, your judgments about yourself and others. Most of the beliefs, assumptions, and biases you hold are associated with this level. So the problem is the direction of change. Many people begin the process of changing their habits by focusing on what they want to achieve, that is, outcome change. This leads us to outcome-based habits. The alternative is to build identity-based habits. With this approach, we start by focusing on who we wish to become, that is, identity change. For instance, imagine two people resisting a cigarette. When offered a smoke, the first person says, "No thanks, I'm trying to quit." It sounds like a reasonable response, but this person still believes that he is a smoker who is trying to be something else. He is hoping his behavior will change while carrying around the same beliefs. The second person declines by saying, "No thanks, I'm not a smoker." It's a small difference, but this statement signals a shift in identity. Smoking was part of his former life, not the current one. He no longer identifies as someone who smokes. Friends, we need to understand one thing here. Behind every system of action is a system of beliefs. Behavior that does not identify with the self will not last. It's hard to change your habits if you never change the underlying beliefs that led to your past behavior. So the most effective way to change your habits is to focus not on what you want to achieve, but on who you wish to become. Number 7. The real reason you fail to stick with habits is that your self-image gets in the way. This is why don't get too attached to one version of your identity. Progress requires unlearning. Becoming the best version of yourself requires you to continuously edit your beliefs and to upgrade and expand your identity. Now, how is the identity formed? Your identity emerges out of your habits. Every action is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. When you make your bed each day, you embody the identity of an organized person. When you write each day, you embody the identity of a creative person. When you train each day, you embody the identity of an athletic person. The more you repeat a behavior, the more you reinforce the identity associated with that behavior. Your identity is literally your repeated beingness. And this is a gradual evolution. We do not change by snapping our fingers and deciding to be someone entirely new. We change bit by bit, day by day, habit by habit. We are continually undergoing micro-evolutions of the self. So you can follow a simple 2-step process to continuously evolve and try to become the best version of yourself. First, decide the type of person you want to be. This holds at any level, as an individual, as a team, as a community, as a nation. What do you want to stand for? What are your principles and values? Who do you wish to become? Then, prove it to yourself with small wins. Once you have a handle on the type of person you want to be, you can begin taking small steps to reinforce your desired identity. Friends, remember, you have the power to change your beliefs about yourself. Your identity is not set in stone. You have a choice in every moment. You can choose the identity you want to reinforce today with the habits you choose today. Number 8. We can build better habits in 4 simple steps. Any habit can be broken down into a feedback loop that involves 4 steps: cue, craving, response, and reward. Breaking it down into these fundamental parts can help us understand what a habit is, how it works, and how to improve it. First, there is the cue. The cue triggers your brain to initiate a behavior. It's a bit of information that predicts a reward. Our prehistoric ancestors were paying attention to cues that signaled the location of primary rewards like food, water, and sex. Today, we spend most of our time learning cues that predict secondary rewards like money and fame, power and status, praise and approval, love and friendship, or a sense of personal satisfaction. Your mind is continuously analyzing your internal and external environment for hints of where rewards are located. Because the cue is the first indication that we are close to a reward, it naturally leads to a craving. Cravings are the second step, and they are the motivational force behind every habit. Without some level of motivation or desire, without craving a change, we have no reason to act. What you crave is not the habit itself, but the change in state it delivers. You do not crave smoking a cigarette, you crave the feeling of relief it provides. You are not motivated by brushing your teeth, but rather by the feeling of a clean mouth. You do not want to turn on the television, you want to be entertained. Every craving is linked to a desire to change your internal state. Cravings differ from person to person. People are not motivated by the same cues. For a gambler, the sound of slot machines can be a potent trigger that sparks an intense wave of desire. For someone who rarely gambles, the jingles and chimes of the casino are just background noise. So the thoughts, feelings, and emotions of the observer are what transform a cue into a craving. The third step is the response. The response is the actual habit you perform, which can take the form of a thought or an action. Whether a response occurs depends on how motivated you are and how much friction is associated with the behavior. If a particular action requires more physical or mental effort than you are willing to expend, then you won't do it. Your response also depends on your ability. It sounds simple, but a habit can occur only if you are capable of doing it. Finally, the response delivers a reward. Rewards are the end goal of every habit. The cue is about noticing the reward. The craving is about wanting the reward. The response is about obtaining the reward. We chase rewards because they serve two purposes. One, they satisfy us, and two, they teach us. The first purpose of rewards is to satisfy your craving. Yes, rewards provide benefits on their own. Food and water deliver the energy you need to survive. Getting a promotion brings more money and respect. Getting in shape improves your health and your dating prospects. But the more immediate benefit is that rewards satisfy your craving to eat, or to gain status, or to win approval. At least for a moment, rewards deliver contentment and relief from craving. Second, rewards teach us which actions are worth remembering in the future. Your brain is a reward detector, you see. As you go about your life, your sensory nervous system is continuously monitoring which actions satisfy your desires and deliver pleasure. Feelings of pleasure and disappointment are part of the feedback mechanism that helps your brain distinguish useful actions from useless ones. Rewards close the feedback loop and complete the habit cycle. If a behavior is insufficient in any of the four stages, it will not become a habit. Eliminate the cue and your habit will never start. Reduce the craving and you won't experience enough motivation to act. Make the behavior difficult and you won't be able to do it. And if the reward fails to satisfy your desire, then you'll have no reason to do it again in the future. Without the first three steps, a behavior will not occur. Without all four, a behavior will not be repeated. To sum up, the cue triggers a craving, which motivates a response, which provides a reward, which satisfies the craving, and ultimately becomes associated with the cue. Together, these 4 steps form a neurological feedback loop. Cue, craving, response, reward. Cue, craving, response, reward that ultimately allows you to create automatic habits. This cycle is known as the habit loop. This habit loop is continually scanning the environment, predicting what will happen next, trying out different responses, and learning from the results. Now that we learned the fundamentals of habits, we'll discuss the 4 laws of behavior change. It provides a simple set of rules for creating good habits and breaking bad ones. The 4 laws of behavior change apply to nearly every field, from sports to politics, art to medicine, comedy to management. These laws can be used no matter what challenge you're facing. There is no need for completely different strategies for each habit. First law: make it obvious. With enough practice, your brain will pick up on the cues that predict certain outcomes without consciously thinking about it. When we have done something 1,000 times before, our habits become automatic and we stop paying attention to what we are doing. We don't consciously think about it. We begin to overlook things. We assume that the next time will be just like the last. We are so used to doing what we have always done that we don't stop to question whether it's the right thing to do at all. But friends, many of our failures in performance are largely attributable to a lack of self-awareness. One of our greatest challenges in changing habits is maintaining awareness of what we are actually doing. The process of behavior change always starts with awareness. You need to be aware of your current habits before you can change them. The techniques that we can use to bring self-awareness are: number 1, pointing and calling. It raises your level of awareness from a non-conscious habit to a more conscious level by verbalizing your actions. It is a safety system designed to reduce mistakes. It seems silly, but it works incredibly well. Pointing and calling reduces errors by up to 85% and cuts accidents by 30%. For example, whenever we are preparing for an outdoor trip, if one of us verbally calls out the most essential items in the packing list, like "I've got my keys, I've got my wallet, I've got my glasses," it's less likely that we'll miss anything vital. Number 2, Habits Scorecard. The Habits Scorecard is a simple exercise you can use to become more aware of your behavior. Make a list of your daily habits. Wake up, turn off alarm, check phone, go to the bathroom, take a shower, brush my teeth, floss my teeth, put on deodorant, hang up towel to dry, get dressed, make a cup of tea, and so on. Once you have a full list, look at each behavior and ask yourself, is this a good habit, a bad habit, or a neutral habit? If it's a good habit, write plus next to it. If it's a bad habit, write minus. If it's a neutral habit, write equals to. But scoring your habits can be a bit complex. You see, there are no good habits or bad habits. There are only effective habits. That is, effective at solving problems. All habits serve you in some way, even the bad ones, which is why you repeat them. While rating a particular habit, you can ask this question: does this behavior help me become the type of person I wish to be? Does this habit cast a vote for or against my desired identity? Habits that reinforce your desired identity are usually good. Habits that conflict with your desired identity are usually bad. Now, simply rating won't do. How do we change bad habits? The first step to changing bad habits is to be on the lookout for them. You can try pointing and calling technique. Say out loud the action that you are thinking of taking and what the outcome will be. Let's say you want to cut back on your junk food habit, but notice yourself grabbing another cookie. Say out loud, I'm about to eat this cookie, but I don't need it. Eating it will cause me to gain weight and hurt my health. Hearing your bad habits spoken aloud makes the consequences seem more real. It adds weight to the action rather than letting yourself mindlessly slip into an old routine. Now, the first law of behavior change is to make it obvious. So how do we create obvious cues for habit change? Number 1. Use implementation intention strategy. You see, the two most common cues are time and location. Creating an implementation intention is a strategy you can use to pair a new habit with a specific time and location. Many people think they lack motivation, when what they really lack is clarity. It's not always obvious when and where to take action. Some people spend their entire lives waiting for the time to be right to make an improvement. Once an implementation intention has been set, you don't have to wait for inspiration to strike. The implementation intention formula is I will behavior at time in location. For example, for meditation you can say I will meditate for 1 minute at 7 a.m. in my kitchen. For exercise you can say I will exercise for 1 hour at 5 p.m. in my local gym. Like that. Being specific about what you want and how you will achieve it helps you say no to things that derail progress, distract your attention, and pull you off course. Give your habits a time and space to live in the world. The goal is to make the time and location so obvious that with enough repetition, you get an urge to do the right thing at the right time, even if you can't say why. Number 2. Use habit stacking. Habit stacking is a strategy you can use to pair a new habit with a current habit. Identify a current habit you already do each day, and then stack your new behavior on top. The habit stacking formula is after current habit, I will new habit. For example, for meditation, you can say, after I pour my cup of coffee each morning, I will meditate for 1 minute. For exercise, you can say, after I take off my work shoes, I will immediately change into my workout clothes. Like that. The key is to tie your desired behavior into something you already do each day. Once you have mastered this basic structure, you can begin to create larger stacks by chaining small habits together. This allows you to take advantage of the natural momentum that comes from one behavior leading into the next. Overall, habit stacking allows you to create a set of simple rules that guide your future behavior. It's like you always have a game plan for which action should come next. Habit stacking works best when the cue is highly specific and immediately actionable. The specificity is important. Number 3. Design your environment. You see, your habits change depending on the room you are in and the cues in front of you. Environment is the invisible hand that shapes human behavior. For this reason, a small change in what you see can lead to a big shift in what you do. So it's quite important that you live and work in environments that are filled with productive cues and devoid of unproductive ones. You don't have to be the victim of your environment. You can be the architect of it. You can design your environment for success. You see, every habit is initiated by a cue, and we are more likely to notice cues that stand out. If you want to make a habit a big part of your life, make the cue a big part of your environment. Making a better decision is easy, and natural when the cues for good habits are right in front of you. So alter the spaces where you live and work to increase your exposure to positive cues and reduce your exposure to negative ones. Number 4. Understand the power of context. The power of context also reveals an important strategy. Habits can be easier to change in a new environment. It helps to escape the subtle triggers and cues that nudge you toward your current habits. When you can't manage to get to an entirely new environment, redefine or rearrange your current one. Create a separate space for work, study, exercise, entertainment, and cooking. Follow the mantra of one space, one use. Whenever possible, avoid mixing the context of one habit with another, because then it becomes a mishmash of cues. A stable environment where everything has a place and a purpose is an environment where habits can easily form. Now, inversion of the first law. Make it invisible. What you have to do in the inversion is make the cues of your bad habits invisible. Self-control is a short-term strategy, not a long-term one. You may be able to resist temptation once or twice, but it's unlikely that you can muster the willpower to override your desires every time. You can break a habit, but you're unlikely to forget it. Simply resisting temptation is an ineffective strategy. So cut bad habits off at the source. One of the most practical ways to eliminate a bad habit is to reduce exposure to the cue that causes it. For example, if you can't seem to get any work done, leave your phone in another room for a few hours. If you are continually feeling like you are not enough, stop following social media accounts that trigger jealousy and envy. If you are wasting too much time watching television, move the TV out of the bedroom. Reduce exposure. Remove the cues of your bad habits from your environment.